Then when the stars are, tamasa is actually maha, to erase. Tumisat, when the stars are erased, you can't even find them anymore. وَالسَّمَاءُ فُرِجَتْ, and the sky is torn open. Farj, this is not fajr, it's farj. Faraja, to rip, to tear. وَإِذَا الْجِبَالُ نُسِفَتْ, oh man. You know, when the mountains are plucked. اقتلع. نسفه يعني اقتلعه. Literally pulled, like you know you take a weak plant and you pull it out of the ground and the roots sticking out at the bottom? How farmers take out like a carrot from the ground or potatoes from the ground? Allah describes that's what He's going to do with mountains. Mountains are going to be just plucked out of the ground. Final deadline and the point time for them, for those messengers, has come. The deadline has arrived. This could mean the messengers of Allah who are being brought as witnesses against their people, now your time has come, give the testimony. You know how for court, when you have witnesses come and testify, they're given a date of the trial and the time where they're supposed to show up to the court and stand trial and give their testimony? That's one meaning of uqitat. The other meaning of ar-rusul is the angels that have been sent to deliver destruction to humanity on Judgment Day. Okay, time's there now, let's go. You know, we attack the earth at 100 hours. And they're given their instructions and they come and they issue that deadline. And they execute. لِأَيِّ يَوْمٍ أُجِّلَتْ, for what day have all of them been procrastinated? That ajjala, to put things off. Why isn't Judgment Day coming, in 5 minutes from now? Why isn't it coming tomorrow? Why is it put off? Why is it given so much time? لِيَوْمِ الْفَصْلِ, for the day when finally the separation and the final decision, the final injunction will occur. In other words, right now Allah says, my purpose is to give you more time, to give you ease, to keep the winds held back, to not destroy the nation, so you can get your act together. This is not, how come it doesn't happen yet? That's a mercy, it hasn't happened yet. وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا يَوْمُ الْفَصْلِ, what would give you any clue what the day of separation and final decision is? Al-Fasl is actually separation literally. Tafseer comes from it. فَصَلَ يُفَصِّلُ تَفْصِيل بِمَعْنَى التَّفْسِير وَلَكِنْ لِمَاذا؟ إِذَا فَصَّلْتُ شَيْئًا فَرَّقْتُ بَيْنَ شَيْءٍ وَشَيْءٍ. If I explain something, I separate things. Something is convoluted. A lot of ideas are together. A good teacher will do what? Let's understand part 1, then let's understand part 2, let's understand part 3, and then we'll put it all together. That's tafsil, breaking things up and explaining them. Fasl itself is a gap, is an opening, is separation. Yawm al-Fasl, the day, and Fasl also means decisive. Decisive, it's done. So Allah said, إِنَّهُ لَقَوْلٌ Fasl. It's done deal. It's a decisive word. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no reiterations after that. So لِيَوْمِ الْفَصْلِ, the day of final decision. There are no revisitations. In court, when you have a judgment given, then you can appeal the judgment. You can apply to another court. You can counter the judgment. You can say, we're going to try again. We're going to apply for a mistrial, whatever. None of those options are going to be there. لِيَوْمِ الْفَصْلِ وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا يَوْمُ الْفَصْلِ. What could give you the slightest clue what يَوْمُ الْفَصْلِ is, the day of that final decisive day is, the day of decision is? وَيْلٌ, what terrible destruction, هَلَاكٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ لِلْمُكَذِّبِينَ. On that day will be against those who considered all of this a lie. All of Islam a lie, the Prophet a lie, Qur'an a lie, Judgment Day a lie, al-mukaththibin. أَلَمْ نُهْلِكِ الْأَوَّلِينَ. Didn't we destroy the earliest ones? What terrible destruction on that day is going to fall upon people who considered all of this a lie. انطلقوا, as the judgment day's image is being given. March forward. Move it. إِلَى مَا كُنْتُمْ بِهِ تُكَذِّبُونَ, towards the very thing you used to lie against. You lied all this time that there's no destruction coming. Now move it. Let's go. Previous surahs already set up the chains and the fetters. The criminal scene's already done. And now the criminals are being transported. انطلقوا إلى ظِلٍّ, move towards gigantic shade. There's the hellfire has smoke coming out of it. And the smoke is coming out in 3 directions. Like forward and left and right. So he says, ذِي ثَلَاثِ شُعَبٍ, that's got 3 branches, like 3 branches of gigantic towers of smoke coming. One to the right, one to the left, one in front. Which is missing? Back. You can't go back, you can only go forward. That's why 3 are mentioned. ثَلَاثِ شُعَبٍ. Which way are you going to go? Right, left, and forward, and behind you are the guardian angels that are pushing you forward. لَا ظَلِيلٍ, there's no actual shade. Dhalil is cool shade. No. There's no لا يدفع شيئا من الحر يعني. Dhalil is actually used for a shade that protects you from the heat. Okay? But the dhil that's mentioned originally is actually the shade of like burning smoke. So وَلَا يُغْنِي مِنَ اللَّهَبِ, and it doesn't save you from burning red fire. إِنَّهَا تَرْمِي, and then the smoke itself starts shooting, بِشَرَرٍ, with balls of fire, كَالْقَصْرِ, that are as large as domes. Qasr is the dome on top of a castle. That's one of the meanings of qasr. That's the shiny part of a castle. It's called qasr also. From a distance you can see it. So from a distance you'll start seeing these domes, these balls of fire being shot out of these towers. كَأَنَّهُ جِمَالَةٌ صُفْرٌ. And when they land, it's going to look like rows of camels that are yellow. Meaning, you know how their flame is yellow and then red? There's going to be this image of yellow and red and then dark black smoke in front. وَيْلٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ لِلْمُكَذِّبِينَ. What terrible destruction on that day falls upon those who considered the truth, the Islam, the Prophet, the Quran, a lie. The maf'ul bihi is not mentioned because takdeeb of all of these things. هَذَا يَوْمُ لَا يَنْطِقُونَ. This is the day of no talking for you. You don't get to run your mouth. You don't get to open your mouth. You don't get to utter a word. Nutq, pronunciation. Nutq means pronunciation, uttering, just a sound. Not a peep comes out of you. لَا يَنْطِقُونَ وَلَا يُؤْذَنُ لَهُمْ. For them, they don't get to utter a word. وَلَا يُؤْذَنُ لَهُمْ, and no permission will be given to them. فَيَعْتَذِرُونَ, that they may make any excuses for themselves. وَيْلٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ لِلْمُكَذِّبِينَ. By the way, the previous surah already said, بَلِ الْإِنسَانَ عَلَى نَفْسِهِ بَصِيرًا. Some time ago already. بَلِ الْإِنسَانَ عَلَى نَفْسِهِ بَصِيرًا وَلَوْ أَلْقَى مَعَاذِيرًا. He can throw excuses all he wants in this life. Let him do it. There's no excuses now. There's no permission going to be given for you to give any excuses. وَيْلٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ لِلْمُكَذِّبِينَ. What terrible destruction will fall upon those who continuously lied. هَذَا يَوْمُ الْفَصْلِ جَمَعْنَاكُمْ وَالْأَوَّلِينَ. This is the day of separation and final decision. We have gathered you and the earliest nations, the most ancient of peoples. All of them have been gathered. This time they're not categorized by ethnicity or by race. They're not categorized by what nationalism they wore on their sleeves. They're just categorized by who's heading in which direction. Who's heading towards Jannah, who's heading towards fire. فَإِنْ كَانَ لَكُمْ كَيْدٌ. And if you have any kind of plot you'd like to make, all of the kuffar, some of the best minds of hatred against Islam, will all be gathered in one place. If you have enemies of Islam, enemies of the truth in your generation, let's combine all the enemies of all the generations, all in one mega kufr conference on Judgment Day, and now make a plot. Go ahead. فَإِنْ كَانَ لَكُمْ كَيْدٌ. If you've got a plot to make, فَكِيدُونَ. Go ahead. Plan away. Knock yourselves out now. فَإِنْ كَانَ لَكُمْ كَيْدٌ فَكِيدُونَ وَيْلٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ لِلْمُكَذِّبِينَ. What terrible destruction is going to fall upon those who consider all of this a lie. إِنَّ الْمُتَّقِينَ فِي ظِلَالٍ وَعُيُونٍ. No doubt the people who truly protected themselves in this life, they are going to be in smooth, cool shades, and they're going to be in the company of springs of water. وَعُيُونٍ وَفَوَاكِهَ مِمَّا يَشْتَهُونَ. And the kinds of fruits, all kinds of fruits from which they really, really like to eat. You know, there are fruits you like and there are fruits you're like, I like it, but You know, because I'm desi, so we're fruit chaat people, right? So fruit chaat, you put all kinds of fruit in it, then you put what the Arabs call a taste of hell on top. You know. But before you put that even, I'm into watermelon, but I don't like, this or that. I'm just going to leave the kids leave some fruits on the side and eat only the fruits they like. Every fruit you taste is the one you really, really want. وَلَمْ يَقُلْ يُرِيدُونَ يَشْتَهُونَ. What you really like, I can't wait to have some Jannah strawberries. That's going to be awesome. Every fruit is the one you're like, I need that one. No, let me get that one first. وَفَوَاكِهَ مِمَّا يَشْتَهُونَ. Fawakih itself, as opposed to, thamarat. Fawakih comes from fakih. It's smile. Fakih is someone who smiles. Fruit, just you take a bite of it and you just go, yeah. A smile just comes on your face. You can't even help it. There are some foods, they taste so good that even if you're the grumpiest person on earth, you have a bite of it and a smile comes on your face. Even if you're super depressed, you just eat a bite of this food and it makes you smile. The fruits that taste that good, that can force a smile on you, they're called fawakih. They're called fawakih. Okay? So, وَفَوَاكِهَ بِمَّا يَشْتَهُونَ كُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا هَنِيئًا. Eat and drink. Kulle khao. Eat and drink, carefree. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about the calories. Don't worry about how much you eat. You're not going to be like, oh, I ate too much. Oh, I love this expression. I think it's one of the dialects of Urdu. They say, aad din bhook marat, aad din bhag marat. Which actually means half the day, it's an expression about Ramadan. Half the day you're dying of hunger, the other half you're dying of eating too much. There's not going to be such a thing in Jannah. You eat, just eat, relax, chill. Chow away. Kulu washrabu hani'an bima kuntum ta'malun. Because of the things you used to do. One of the great joys of this ayah, the great gift of this ayah, isn't the food, isn't the drink, isn't the carefreeness. You know what the great gift in this ayah is? Allah is talking to you. The second person. Notice, فَوَاكِهَ مِمَّا يَشْتَهُونَ إِنَّ الْمُتَّقِينَ يعني هم. ولكن إذا حينما قال كلوا واشربوا ما هو الضمير المستتر؟ كلوا واشربوا ضمير فعل أمر ضمير مستتر تقديره أنتم. فالتفت الكلام من هم إلى أنتم. First Allah said, they're going to be in Jannah. They're going to have whatever they want. These great fruits that they've been desiring all this time. And then you're like, I wish I was them. Because they is not you. They is they. And then Allah says, no, I'll take you there. I want you to imagine yourself being told by Allah, eat and drink. It doesn't say, وَقِيلَ لَهُمْ كُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا. Allah could say that. Allah didn't say that. It's going to be said to them. Allah just says directly, كُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا. Why? He forces us to imagine ourselves in Jannah. He forces ourselves to imagine the day where we're going to hear, eat and drink. Don't worry about it. You did really well. بِمَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. And that last part really gets me. Really gets me. بِمَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. We don't get to Jannah because of our deeds. We get to Jannah because of Allah's mercy. But you know what? That's the greatness of Allah. Allah gets you into Jannah, and then He says you did really well. You get to eat, so we never get to say we got to Jannah because of our deeds. We have to say we got there because of Allah's mercy. He gets us in and He says, I'm really proud of what you did. Enjoy. This special meal is for you because of what you used to do. بِمَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. Because of what you were up to. Allah takes pride in the deeds of His slaves. We rely on the mercy of our Master. And when you reverse that role, there's a bad problem. There's a bad problem. Because when we start relying on our deeds, there's a problem. Our deeds don't get us to Jannah. كُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا هَنِيئًا بِمَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ إِنَّا كَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ. And that is how we compensate those who've excelled. The people of excellence. Allahumma ja'alna min al-muhsinin. وَيْلٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ لِلْمُكَذِّبِينَ. What terrible destruction, what terrible outcome awaits those on that day that lied against all of this. كُلُوا وَتَمَتَّعُوا قَلِيلًا. Now you people, I've already talked to the people of Jannah, let me talk to you people, you kuffar, you disbelievers, you mockers of Islam. Eat and drink, enjoy, party, live it up. كُلُوا وَتَمَتَّعُوا. تَمَتَّعُوا يعني اسْتَمْتِعُوا. Enjoy yourselves. قَلِيلًا, just a little bit though. How long are you going to live? Go ahead, eat whatever you want, do whatever you want, party however you want. إِنَّكُمْ مُجْرِمُونَ. That doesn't change the fact that you are criminals. No doubt about it, you're criminals. وَيْلٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ لِلْمُكَذِّبِينَ. How terrible a destruction that will fall upon those who lied against this message, who considered it a lie. وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمُ ارْكَعُوا لَا يَرْكَعُونَ. When it's said to them, fall into ruku'. Bow yourselves down, humble yourselves. They don't humble themselves. They don't put themselves down. وَيْلٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ لِلْمُكَذِّبِينَ. What terrible destruction falls upon those who consider all of this a lie. فَبِأَيِّ حَدِيثٍ بَعْدَهُ. Then what speech after this? What new thing after this? After it, meaning after the Qur'an, يُؤْمِنُونَ. Are they going to believe in? فَبِأَيِّ حَدِيثٍ بَعْدَهُ يُؤْمِنُونَ. Then what speech after this are they going to believe in?